Hey guys, this is Eckhart Hello and welcome to another video. Now, I certainly wasn't planning on making another personal / channel focused video so soon after the prior one. I wanted to get back to lore for a little bit, but a lot new information came out and we actually got a bit of a resolution regarding what was happening to my channel. So I'm going to give you guys a bit of a rundown, then we're going to do a brief sponsored segment and I'll explain why, then I'll give you guys the full information. So as I described in a prior video, over the past week or so, I've been hit hard by fraudulent copyright claims by a company known as InGrooves. Now, I say company, but there's some evidence that these guys really just exist to pull money fraudulently out of the hands of creators, but we'll come back to that later. What basically happened is that my outro music, which is the song Resonance by Home, a fantastic track, was identified within YouTube's system as belonging to InGrooves, and they claimed by the time it was completed over 150 videos across both of my YouTube channels. Now, what that means is that every time I would make $1, the money goes directly to them, and what's more, they actually put videos and extra ads on videos that were already not monetized. For example, if I do a sponsored video, I don't usually throw the same amount of ads on, and they just ignore that, put as many ads on. All the money goes to them. Basically, it really threatens my job as a creator, especially where my outro and intro are on pretty much every single video I upload. Now, most decent companies will respond very quickly when this happens, mistakenly, and this is probably the 5th time or the 4th time I've had to deal with this generally, but InGrooves specifically were pretty much impossible to reach. They don't have a public-facing phone number or email. Instead, what you have to do is go through their contact form on their website. They would not respond or even to acknowledge to my tweets or the countless others who were tweeting them, and they weren't responding to many of the counterclaims that I submitted. Okay, so that's what happened. After this brief sponsor break, I'm going to talk about what's happened today. And the reason why I'm taking a sponsored break here is because I've been relying really heavily on companies like Vite Ramen, who's taking care of today's video, when YouTube's been a bit slower. And to be honest, I was really worried about my channel for a bit, especially because had the company refused my counterclaim, I would have had to throw it to YouTube. And when that happens, basically anything can happen and they can choose to shut down my channel. So special thanks to Vite Ramen for the constant support. For those who don't know, Vite Ramen is the noodle company that sponsored me at my Star Wars Squadrons tournament for over a year now. They're a tremendous partner of the channel. They have phenomenal ramen. I'd probably do these sponsored segments for free as long as they sent me the ramen, because it's really flavorful, it's super healthy, it's lower on sodium, and there's a variety of really interesting flavors, especially now that they've gone through their whole flavor revamp with Vite Ramen 2.0. However, today they asked me to talk about something a little bit new, not the ramen itself, but actually what they're calling, and I'm probably going to get demonetized for this, their naked nudes. It's basically just their noodles and you can put it in your own broth or your soup or your leftovers, whatever. Anyway, as I said, Vite Ramen is a phenomenal company. You don't have to go just with my words. If you look down in the comments, usually after I do one of these videos, you'll see people talking about their good experiences with the brand. And as always, you can go to my unique URL, which will take you to a custom Eckhart's Ladder landing page where there's even the option for a free gift. So thanks, Vite Ramen. Let's move on. Anyway, so as of my video a couple of days ago, things have actually worked out quite well on my end. A lot of people, way more than I expected, actually took a lot of interest in this topic because I think it's one that people have realized is kind of screwed up on YouTube. But more than just that, there's actually been the growing realization that this is an issue with this company specifically, which has went on for a very long time. And I didn't even try doing this, but if you Google InGrooves copyright, you'll see dozens and dozens of people experiencing the exact same issues that I am. From Reddit to Google support to YouTube videos and more. This is a very serious issue. And again, it largely comes down, I'm not sure if InGrooves is doing this just because it's a good way to make money, or if they're so careless and they realize that there's nothing YouTube can really do in response to shit like this. Because again, the music that I was using had nothing to do with InGrooves. It wasn't music that they had on their label, I'm not sure. And since posting my video, I've had the actual artist of Resonance come out to my defense, Randy from home. It's not the first time he's done this for me. He's an absolutely stand-up guy. But more than just that, I've had the actual artist whom InGrooves was claiming I was using for my outro reach out and say that it had nothing to do with her, and what's more, that InGrooves doesn't even represent her. She had to do research into the company. She realized, as I did, that it's part of Universal, and that she thinks they make money illegally by exploiting other people's popularity and traces. I think she meant tracks. She also pointed out something that I didn't realize, that this is not only happening to YouTubers or content creators on a wide scale, but also other artists. And that's just something that I hadn't thought about, because this is affecting them as much as it is me, because a lot of people saw my video and saw her name. I'd never heard of her before and assumed that this was something that she was involved in. But no, this is not the case at all. And this has actually happened to me somewhat in the past. There was an artist or a rapper who used part of Home Resonance as part of one of their remixes, and when that remix was uploaded to YouTube, the content company managing their music started claiming all of my uploads for similar reasons. They thought because they both used Home that I was ripping off his track, which is kind of ironic because he was using it as part of a remix. So I made lots of tweets about this. There's been lots of digging. You can find most of it on Twitter in a response to my posts. But eventually YouTube even returned, saying that after I made a kind of big tweet that they would look into it more because they take people violating the copyright system very, very seriously. Right, again, there's evidence that InGroove has been doing this for pretty much a decade, almost since YouTube started handling copyright claims. Thankfully for me, as of today, InGrooves did release all claims on my first and second channel. That was a very interesting moment because I was actually just driving and my phone started absolutely blowing up. I thought something bad might have happened, but I literally got about 150 notifications all at once because InGroove released the claims on all of my videos on both Eckhart's Ladder and then a few minutes later on X2. So that was a victory. That was something that I was quite happy about. It did temporarily make me a little less frustrated about the situation, and I did, to be honest, feel a little bad about getting so angry, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that's totally the wrong approach. To just basically get mine and then say, screw it, even though the system's broken, I'm happy now. Because you know what? I estimated during my last video that I was not the only person this was happening to right now. It was probably happening to hundreds or thousands of other creators. Well, I actually talked to a few during this whole fiasco who are dealing with the exact same thing, the same music frequently, and a lot of them, even after my situation was fixed, are still struggling with the issue on their own. They still have InGrooves falsely claiming content on their channel. So something needs to happen. Something fundamental needs to happen to YouTube, because right now, as content creators, the power has shifted so far in favor of these copyright companies to the point where they can claim things fraudulently, things which are evidently false against the wishes of both us, the creator, and the artist, and even in this case, a third party, the person on whose behalf they were claiming, but nothing is done, and they feel like they can do this without getting away. YouTube needs to step up, and when these people do this, they need to suspend or maybe even kick these people off their platform, because this is unacceptable. They should not be allowed to be this careless. I do want to respond to one more thing, and this is nobody's fault, and I'm not at all mad to get this question, but a lot of people said, Eck, why don't you sue these people? Take them to court. Well, there's a few reasons. I am a lawyer myself, as some of you know, and just looking at this case, this is not something that is favorable to me as a mid-sized YouTuber. First of all, InGrooves is owned by Universal Music, and they certainly have a very, very big pocketbook. In America especially, where I'm sure InGrooves is based and where YouTube is based and where I'd probably have to sue them, court is very expensive, and companies will often just pay as much money as they can to sort of like drown you out and to make suing you impossible. I also talked to Leonard French, who many of you guys know. He's a lawyer on YouTube. He's got a great YouTube channel. I already followed him before all of this, and now he follows me, which is pretty cool. And he said that specifically with situations like this, the paperwork is very, very complex, and you'd basically have to do something separate for each one of these copyright claims, which just sounds absolutely nasty. And when it comes to something like damages, I mean, at least in Canada, I can't talk about American law, there's not really a lot of damages I would win. For example, damages are usually based off of the money that you lost, unless the judge tries to put punitive damages on. And for me, I mean, that probably is a few $100s. I wouldn't even say that's $1,000. I didn't lose all of my YouTube revenue. I lost revenue for like a week, and it was only, you know, a part of it. They were skimming it off the top, and it was admittedly getting to be more and more as they were getting to more of my videos, but it's just not worth suing a major company for something like this, especially when it's Universal Music. And another issue is that I did technically have options still available to me through YouTube. Like, they technically have 30 days to respond to my claims before YouTube decides in favor of me. So suing somebody before that 30 days is over or before they've outright rejected my claim just doesn't make sense. And it's just hard. Suing someone's really expensive. It's not something that I would recommend. And it's just tough. Like, this situation is tough. I've heard of people being outright rejected by Ingrooves or other companies when they filed their initial counterclaim. And to be honest, I think a lot of reason why I got this settled and why I got this settled, you know, relatively quickly within a week or two is because I do have such a large platform. I'm not the biggest creator around, but, you know, I've got enough following on Twitter that I can make a pretty big stink about something, and my video got 100,000 views, and it all reflects very, very badly at Ingrooves because right now, whenever an artist or professional is looking at their Twitter page, they see all their tweets being ratioed by people calling them thieves and whatever else. So, all that being said, what does that mean for the future? Well, this is going to happen to me again. I'm probably not going to make such a big stink out of it next time. I'm going to try to settle it for myself because this was not only about me. As I explained, this was about kind of explaining the shit content creators have to go through, especially when trying to use kind of non-mainstream music. Like, Home is big, but I mean, he's not on a major record label, so this is good for smaller musicians to be able to be in this system, but of course, companies like this tend to screw it all up. So this is going to happen again. We got to make sure that we support everybody who this is happening to, not just me. I'm going to follow up with everyone that I talk to. Hopefully the situation is resolved. But yeah, I'm going to go play some Stellaris, go stream it over on my second channel, X2. I may even play the Eckhart's Ladder intro at the beginning of that stream just to fuck with Ingrooves. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for all your support. This has been a really shitty kind of couple of weeks, but you guys have made it so much better. Until next time, though, be safe, have a good one. May the Force go with... You know what? I'm going to leave that in because I'm in a good mood. May the Force be with you.